let's talk about the 7. This video is kind of different compared to it usually is, but kind of had a feeling I wanted to make this for some of the people who like the storyline. So, I'm going to list off my theories on what's going on with each member of the 7 and the near future for the story. First of all, we're going to start with the first member of the 7 that we've ever seen, the Visitor. The Visitor was introduced in Chapter 1, Season 4 as the Secret Skin, and ever since Chapter 3, when he got taken over by the Chrome, he hasn't really been seen at all, but I feel like once we went back to OG, when we went to the OG mini-season in 2023, we went back in time, obviously, thanks to Jones and Sloan taking Kato Thorne's time machine, meaning that the Visitor is alive. And yeah, just to let you know, guys, I'm going to be listing my theory on who's alive and who isn't. So yeah, and we didn't really hear much about the Visitor, but I think because Jonesy got the 7 to change the timeline and mess with it, causing the Big Bang event, I think because of that, it altered the timeline, meaning the outcome is going to be different, where the 7 aren't taken over by the Chrome. Especially with the... And another reason why I think the Visitor is alive is because in in Season 4, we got a new version of the Visitor right here. And something tells me that even though they look different, they are still the same person. Just different looks in a different reality where everything is altered slightly. But for now, I think that's it for me for the Visitor. Now let's move on to our pilot of the 7, the Paradigm. I think she's also alive, for a very good reason too, because in the 0 Hour live event, we got to see the Mecha Team Leader, or Mecha Strike Commander apparently, return, which is the same mech from the Collision event all the way back in 2022, or Chapter 3 even. There's a specific line that people heard from, people were very hyped about during the event, and that's when Hope said, sentence,
"Who's piloting that?"
Who's piloting that? There's only one person who can pilot the mech, and it's none other than the Paradigm. She's the only one with the access to control the thing. So that's my reasoning for how she could be alive, and how she can play a big role later on to help us take down the Dark Voyager. Next we move on to the Scientist. So far we have we do have some information about him, that, well, obviously he was taken over by the Chrome as well, along with the Visitor and the Origin, which we'll get to later. So my reasoning to believe that the Scientist is alive takes also back to the mini OG season in 2023, where Jones Jones and Sloan altered the timeline because who constructed the rocket in Season X? None other than the scientist, and I think with a bit of help from the Visitor as well. So because of that, I believe the scientist is also alive. So now we move on to probably the more important one right now, and that's the Order. The only member of the Seven that is actually on the map right now is actually in a jail cell at the moment, captured by the Dark Voyager. And as we speak, the Dark Voyager is actually collecting 0 point shards to rebuild the 0 point. So we don't really know exactly what is planned for the Order right now, but something tells me Jones is going to be able to free her along with our help, and maybe also some help from other members of the Seven. And next we move on to the Origin, also known as the Cube King, which is kind of fitting actually because we're back on the Cube side. We're back on the Cube part of the storyline, you know, with the Dark Voyager and everything. It's crazy that, you know, the King of the Cubes is now returning, but obviously he's changed. He's no longer the Cube King. His theory could be that yes, he will return as well, due to him also being taken over by the Chrome, but timeline, yada yada yada. Same thing, same with the Scientist and the Visitor. But now we move on to probably one of the more important ones, and that's the Imagined, the first of the sisters. The reason why I said her after is because I believe that she is dead right now, because in the audio logs from the Order, you could hear this.
Here, for the Seven, we are what we used to be. I miss my sister most of all.
Yeah, that's right. I miss my sister. Meaning that her sister had unfortunately died. And I think we know how that happened. And the reason is actually in a live event, but is also in the Zero War comics. Physically see the Imagined actually sacrificing herself to save her sister and everyone else in the loop. And something tells me the reason why she's dead and not everyone else, because obviously Collision happened before the whole timeline change thing happened. The reason why I think it has the 0 point involved, to the point where the 0 point sort of made it so that she can't come back, probably because she jumped in it along with her father, Geno. If you didn't know the Fortnite storyline, I'll have a link in the description for the most up-to-date version from Top 5 Gaming. He's really the one who inspired me to do this video. So that leaves us with one person left, and the main man himself, the Foundation, also known as Dwayne "The Rock" Johnson. Yeah. The reason why I believe he's alive is because he didn't die to the Chrome like the others did. Well, I don't think they died, but taken over. I don't think he got taken over by the Chrome, because we saw his helmet in the season before the Chrome came out, meaning he vanished somewhere. So yeah, that's basically the reason why I think he's alive, and how he's gonna play a major role in the story against the Dark Voyager. But what does this mean for our current heroes, Hope and Jones? Well, Jones is probably gonna have a good time reuniting with his old friends, members, his old team. And so far for Hope, we don't really know, because ever since Chapter 7 began, her powers of using art to reveal the future have slipped away. For example, in Chapter 6, Season 3, she teased the bug season, which was actually the season right after. But ever since Chapter 7 began, we haven't seen any new things in where you can find her NPC right here. There is usually, every time where she's at, there is always graffiti everywhere, revealing future things happening. This time, there's nothing. This probably means that her powers have slipped away, which is very bad because it's a very crucial part into knowing what's going to happen next and what threats we can expect in the future. So, yeah. I hope you enjoyed this. This video was kind of a different type of video compared to what I usually do, but again, I hope you enjoyed, and also shout out again to Top 5 Gaming for inspiring me to make this video, because he's the one I always watched for Fortnite storyline updates, but so far he hasn't said anything. Just he hasn't done a full recap, because, well, he usually does that at the end of every chapter, and we're only in the beginning. So I hope you enjoyed, and I'll see you in the next one.